Star Family. When I say Star Family, I really mean that. I mean, the more I'm going into so many things, it's like it's like when I first had my awakening, and welcome by the way. I have so much to say. It's like, I'm in my world, and then like I'll get this like vibe like where they're like, record what you're like, say what you're thinking, and record it. And I'm like, okay. That's what a lot of these are, is just me being in my head, or, speaking with spirit or whatever, while whether I'm on a walk or, a cannabis, trip, wherever I am. There's just this really cool energy um, that I have felt since I can remember. And there were all these blocks that were put in front of me. And I understand now. And I understand why I would get so ragey anger about it. Um, and yesterday I witnessed such an anger in my presence, and the anger shift, that it made me really, really like think about how how much I was like living my life with anger, moving through life with anger, just anger, confusion, resentment, depression, anxiety. Like, you can pretty much name almost any negative word, and I lived it, or I felt like I was living it anyway. Um, and and I remember recently I had a memory, and I don't remember exactly who I was talking to, but at the time of the memory. But I remember being a very small child and saying something like small, like under the age of 7. Between 4 and 7 is kind of the age range when I really started to be like, huh? Like, what's this bullshit? Like, what? It's like my bullshit barometer. I'm sure as a baby, I probably looked at everybody like, what's happening? Who am I? How did I get here? Um, but I had all of these experiences that it's like one of those things, in a way, I wish I could just speak to certain people from my past, so I can be like, hey, what's your memory of that? Or like, what's your memory of me? Like, at that time, at that age. Because I've been blocked so much that I assumed it was from my childhood trauma, that when, like, you know, my husband's like, I remember being in the womb. I remember being born. I'm like, shut the fuck up. And he's like, no, I'm serious. And then I started to meet people that would tell me that, and I'm like, really? I'm like that just, because I wasn't looking at the world like, if it didn't happen to me, it didn't happen. It was more like, I haven't had that experience, so I don't know that. And then over the years in society, and just like the pressure to like fit in, even I was like, dude, you're full of shit, or that's bullshit, or, and I would literally like just bat off anything that was supernatural, magical, whatever. I would just like bat it off like it didn't exist. I would just say, no. Um, but there was a time, and I believe it was when I was 8, is when I started to become jaded. And I think there's so many words I want to use to describe this emotion and this feeling. It's like the loss of innocence. It's like that loss of innocence. And my partner lost his innocence at 3. I don't remember exactly how old I was, but I know that it was at 8 that I was like already wanting to like kind of give up, because I saw things, mostly because there was so much trauma in my home. And then I'd go to my Christian church with my family, and my mom would be like beaten and have fucking bruises on her, and nobody would do or say anything. And I was just, I mean, I remember thinking, oh, for sure, like, at least, the church will help. Like, we had such a lovely preacher. I mean, I don't know him, but like I was so young, like I didn't know him on a personal level, but I can say that I remember him vividly. I actually put him in my novel because I remembered a moment that I had with him that was so precious. And I'm sure he's probably gone now, because he was older than my parents. He might be around. I don't know. I should probably research him. I'd actually love to talk to people like that, like in my church, like what they thought of like my family or us or whatever. Because I was held back from Sunday school and had to go to big church because I kept calling bullshit and everything. And so, like, I guess my innocence of like looking at the world with big rosy glasses, but still I rise, right? Like, but still I was like, no, I'm gonna be famous. No, I'm gonna be rich. No, I'm gonna be a movie star. No, I'm a singer. I'm gonna be a triple threat. I'm gonna be all these things. I'm gonna be a comedian. I'd be at parties and stuff, and people would be like crying, laughing, and they're like, "Dude, you are so fucking funny. You need to be a comedian." And I'm like, I'm just talking. I'm like, my comedy was just true observations, and then I learned how to feed. I mean, trust me, I didn't realize how magical I really fucking was. So I was taking bits here and taking bits there, and building this person from little bits and pieces of every single person I'd ever encountered, even but without really recognizing it or realizing it until I started writing this book series. And once I started writing the book series, these characters were I started to realize that these characters were actual people from my life, from my past. And or like one person would be like a combination of like six people, you know like one of the characters in the book is like, it's like so many people I knew wrapped up into this one character because they all kind of had different pieces of her, and that's what made her so special. She's like actually one of my favorite characters in the book. But all of these characters that started to come together, I was like, wow, this is powerful. um and even having moments like where where like I would write a character for an actor to play that character, and then the actor died, and I'm like, fuck, who's gonna play them now? And then I have another one like in lineup, you know what I mean? So I started to realize like, maybe I shouldn't be so literal, because I really was like writing parts for so many people have done. This new movie that's coming out, I think it's called Killer Island. Um, but anyway, I don't want to say what it was originally called because I don't want to get blurped or like flagged. But anyway, the original title was quite something, but it was awesome. Zoe Kravitz, right? And so she like imagined Channing Tatum to play this character, and she also had a little crush on him. And anyway, now they're together, they're engaged, and he's playing this character. Robin Williams, look at Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Like they wrote this character for Robin Williams to play, and he played it. So there's one that I feel like it's going to be them, and I really hope so. There's a few actually. There's so many. And then I like saw that Dame Judi Dench is like retired because she's officially blind. Like where she's like she said this, she's been saying this for years when she started losing her eyesight, that she wouldn't, but I think she'll come back. But anyway, there's definitely like I have like a thing in there where I'm like, no, Judi Dench, no, like I'm like, you're so perfect. Maggie Smith, like I have all these like, and they're like best friends in real life. There's like all these like characters and like actors that I'm like, no, they like have to play these roles, like they have to be alive. And some of you, Anna, like send me things all the time, write your book, write your book, write your book, and I'm like, it's coming. But I believe I'm whatever. I don't want to say too much. I will leave it there because I'm working in divine timing, and that's basically what this whole episode was about. Was that I just want everyone to try their best to flow in divine timing, stay away from other people right now who are going to flare you up in a negative way, because there's so much high voltage energy that's coming from it is a spiritual war. It is a fucking spiritual war. I saw this thing, I made a shorts for it, I don't know when they'll have me post it, but for the magical medium, but it's so fucking true. It's like there are things that I remember from, because my parents and my family were like the Bible was shoved down our throat. There are so many things from the Bible that I love, actually, that are really great stories, and then there are other things from the Bible that make me cringe and make me sick because I know that it's not divinely, like when people are like, the whole Bible is not shit. I'm like, I never said the whole Bible was shit. I just said that it was written by men. And it was written by women. But certain things were omitted and were not allowed by men. because they're like, we can control with this book. Like, we can do some, like, I bet Moses did fucking part the Red Sea. Like, I bet all those things did happen. I see magic every single day, all the time. I see magic all the time. The magic was diminished, and it's the magic. It's the high voltage magic that was brought to this planet to begin with. Earth is a teaching school for the soul. We're all from different places from all over the universe. If you haven't seen Contact, it's free on YouTube this month. Go and watch it. It has commercials, so unless you download it and pay for it, but it's worth it, because Contact is one of those movies that I've had, or actually I don't have anymore. When we downsized again to this, when we moved out of the cabin and came into here, I had a huge box of DVDs and CDs and stuff like that. Oh my gosh, by the way, this crane fly spirit is coming into my orbit. I just did a shorts for the crane fly. The crane fly has been coming everywhere. I will put some medicine below, or maybe you're meant to seek it out on your own. I don't know, but the way they're inching over is the cutest thing I think I've ever seen. They're like inching into like my eyesight. They could have like flown into here, but they're just like trying to bring me here. They're mosquito eaters. And we're going to get to that, because prayers are powerful. Prayers are so powerful. I prayed for the mosquitoes to go away. I didn't want to kill them. I didn't want to hurt them. I was putting oils on. I was doing stuff. And every so often one was getting in the house, and I was like, damn it. And I was having these bites, and I was like, even using my essential oils, I was like, arr. And so I prayed for it. And now my house has been like completely, like, every time I look around, it seems like I'm seeing a crane fly. And I'm like, thank you so much. Thank you, crane fly spirit. We love you so much. So they'll sit here and lie in wait for any mosquitoes that come in, because right now the weather it's raining. That's what this prayer, that's another thing I wanted to talk about. But all of these things are coming together, and it's like, there's just so much. So I started to like recognize and understand that spirit has kept these blocks in front of my eyes, because I am meant to come out now. Like, I had to learn all those things. I had to be human. I had to move here, move there. Those of you who know my story know I've moved over 30 times. I've lived in 5 of the United States. I have traveled extensively. I don't know how many countries I've been in. I don't remember. 7 to 10, somewhere in there. And I've been to indigenous, really, like, I've seen things that I only saw on TV shows or in like infomercials to get money, like for the children. Like, I've only seen things, but like to witness it in person, you can't even, I'm like starting to get emotional. You can't. When I was in Mexico, I literally couldn't go out, really, because it was really rough to see like 7, 8-year-old children bagging my groceries. And then to see where they live. I don't want to get too emotional. I'm stopping. I'm controlling my emotions, but not in a mean way, but just like, let this happen right now. Whenever you watch this, it's always timeless, but right now in real time, we are in the last bits of the Cancer moon. We're on the dark side of the moon. We're in the shadow. We're in the rest and restore phase of the waning crescent. This is when we really release and just shed all of that, like everything that was in our. That's why I had to leave where I grew up. That's why I had to go see the world, even if I only saw a fraction of it. Because there's so many countries and places I still want to go, but I remember when I wanted to go to India, my ex-husband, his father's from India, and I wanted to go so bad, and he said, no, you don't. He's like, the smell alone you wouldn't be able to handle, because I was so sensitive to smells. Well, the place where we wanted to go, where his parents, I think his father either went to school or grew up in Mumbai. And anyway, it was just a very intense experience, because I just, even as a child, I just didn't understand why there was so much greed and hatred and division and judgment, and the N word was slung around my life too much growing up on the south side of Chicago. I couldn't bear it. Anyway, I have no idea this was. I'm like, I just want to talk to you guys about like what's going on. That I prayed for rain and it came. I was like, I literally did like a little dance outside. My family comes, we're somewhere in our lineage is Cherokee, and I noticed recently because I walk around this 5 acre farm. I walk around this property all the time, and we've been here nearly 4 months. Interesting, like we moved here on the 8-8 portal. Excuse me, Freudian slip. I love it. We moved here on the 4-4 portal. On it, I wanted to move before it during Mercury retrograde. Now we're in the shadow. More like look at that. We're in the shadow of the end of the moon. We're in the shadow of Mercury retrograde, and the new moon in Leo is coming up around the corner, and so is Mercury going full retrograde. I'm going to do a really cool reading for that. And stay tuned. I'm editing a new pick a reading for the Magical Medium. It's so good. I did it on Saturday. It's harsh, though. The first one I cried really hard. The first reading, I'm just going to say. And it was about working with the 7th moon phase, the 3rd quarter, last quarter moon. And it is about transition and forgiveness. What do we have to transition out of, and what are we transitioning out of and into, and what do we have to forgive and let go? And I'm going to tell you right now, that whole pickle reading was for light workers and starseeds. It's for angels. It's for the witches, healers, and deep down believers in magic, and the weirdos, the outcasts. Like, I mean, it's our time. It's like time to step into character. It's time to step into our real role. Like, it's like, it's like realizing, like, if Clark Kent never knew he was Superman, and then he woke up one day and he always knew his powers were strong, but he kept them hidden. It's like we've all known this, we've all felt it, and now it's like, no, I mean, this is like the most pivotal, powerful. I mean, there's just so much to say. But anyway, I was walking around the grounds, and we moved here in the beginning of spring, so we were blessed to see this place bloom and come to life. Almost all the trees on here are either elder trees, hundreds of years old, or they're fruit trees. This property has been in only 3 families since the 1800s. It's one of the oldest properties and one of the most famous properties in the area that we live, for multiple reasons. Just about the family that gave back to the community, the animals that were like healing animals for support. This wasn't a kill farm. And it just magic, just a lot of magic. And the way we came here and just the way everything has happened, I mean, it's just been so magical. Drink some water, Spirit said. I'm in my comfies and my cozies because it's chilly. I'm like wearing sweats. Spirit was like, you might want to wash your sweats. I'm like, what? And I washed these. These are mine. Like, they got stained. I don't remember what happened to these. I don't remember what it was now. But they got stained, and I don't care because they're still my most cozy luscious. When you have that, like, you're like, I don't fucking care how old and tattered. It's like, if it's cozy and it feels good on your skin, that's all that matters to me. Seriously. So I was walking around the property recently, and just how some fruit has come in already, some other fruit is coming in, the peaches are coming in, the apples are coming in. It's just really beautiful and inspiring. But then I started to realize, like, everything was dying. All the grass was dead because our landlord, this is an investment property for him, whether for himself or whatever, but he's not fully prepared to start the renovations on the house yet until the fall. And so he was like, you guys are free to live here, but the well broke, and he's like, well, I'm not going to worry about watering it. I'll just let everything just, naturally die. He's like, I'm just going to let things die. Like, whatever's meant to stay will stay, kind of like energy. And we were like, okay. And so, we have to bring in all of our water. We're like full. We're almost off grid. We have an extension cord. Thank goddess, because it's like I have my little charging station and some lights, but nothing major. It made me realize how much I really don't use that much electricity or need it. Um, but I digress. It's me. It's my brain. But I know it drives some people crazy. My mom used to say, can't you just get there? I don't want to hear that you took a left step and a right step. Just get to the point. Like I would hear that my whole life. Get to the point, get to the point, get to the point, get to the point. But I think there's something about the journey too, like even with a story, when someone's telling you the story, sometimes it's fun and nice to hear the details. It gives you a full picture of the story. So I was walking around realizing everything was dead, and I started to get really sad. And we had one of the driest winters. I've been in the Pacific Northwest for 13 years, and 7 of it has been in Washington, and the last 2 have been on the Olympic Peninsula. And so, even though we have our sun belt and all that, this place pulls in rain. It's a rainforest. I mean, there's literally a rainforest in the Olympic Mountains. So we just have not had a lot of rain, and it's just seeing the leaves on the trees. It was literally breaking my heart to see one of the grandmother trees, cherry tree that's been here forever. She's so witchy and gorgeous and amazing, and I could feel her every time I would see her or walk past her. She was like, oh, like I need water. And so I did this little dance, and I like prayed to spirit for rain. I said, if it's in everyone's greatest and highest good, may we please have a rain. A downpour would be awesome, but just some rain, I'm like, because it's, been really rough. And then I looked at the forecast, and like the next day, I think the day after, and it said, it was like not those days, but like the next week it was going to rain. And I was like, what? I'm like, it rarely rains this time of year in Washington. That's why we have a lot of fires, and why there's a lot of fires in Canada, because literally, like, I'm on the border. The only thing that separates me and Canada is water. So, it's funny, the other day Alder was like, so where's the line? I'm like, the water. And he's like, yeah, but like where in the water? I'm like, it's open. Like, that's the whole point. It's like, that's your land, this is our land, this is. And I go, I guess the animals, the creatures in the water, they're the separation. There's also a new whalefish species. They've been finding all these new species everywhere, especially in the ocean. Really cool. But anyway, I digress again. It's just, there's so much to talk about. Earth is such a cool, magical place right now if you look at it that way. If you look at it that, it's like the sky is falling and run around like Chicken Little, then it will be. Then it'll be the worst fucking experience of your life. You will hate your life. You will be miserable. Speaking of, I'm going to get some socks. Hold on. Okay, so like talk about like I keep saying I'm gonna like cut these and like, cause they're so awesome. Talk about like my stuff where I'm like, those things you're like, I'm gonna fix it, I'm gonna do it, and sometimes I get from spirit, throw it away, and other times I'll hear, no, like those are good. Like, I mean, these could just be leg warmers. That's the thing I've been like debating, like, do I want them just as leg warmers, or do I want them? These were given to me by a really powerful witch couple, and I love them and I miss them so much. I think about them all the time. They're in my book too. So yeah, I mean, it was like kind of blew my mind. Because I was like, I've been thinking about it for days, and then like praying on it, and so I must have put it somewhere into the airwaves, and maybe other people were praying too or whatever. But the thing that was really interesting was that this weather report kind of popped into my orbit, and it said in capital letters, rare rainstorm. Rare, and in the article it's like it's not that it never rains. They're like, it's just kind of rare, to this time of year to have such a downfall or whatever, or so anyway, so cheers to spirit, cheers to that, and cheers to all those who put in the good energy. They said this is going to help tremendously with the fires in the Cascades. So that's really good, right? In the rainforest, like we all needed it. I was just like, I felt like everybody was like, I need some rain. Like we need some water, And I've been actually watering the peach tree just because I'm like, I'm not even a peach person, but it's interesting. These like peaches have been like coming into my orbit. I thought it was a fig tree, and then Alder's like, I think it's a peach tree, and I'm like, huh. And then all these peach. So that's what I'm saying. Is this happening to you guys? Like, these are like the synchronicities that are happening everywhere, and I'm realizing how magical I really am, how powerful I really am. And that I remember saying things like that, like to my friends and family, like, dude, I made it rain, or whatever. I'm like, and because I'd be like, I just wish it would rain, I wish it would rain, and I would say, and then all of a sudden you'd hear like thunder, and or I'd hear like rolling thunder, and then lightning strike or whatever. And I grew up, in the south suburbs of Chicago, and we would have freakish cool summer storms and things like that. But anyway, it's just like all the magic. And the more I was writing my book, it's like when I started the book, I had actually had the location, or I was struggling with the location. I was struggling where I wanted it to start. And then I was in meditation, and Spirit said, it's time for you to get to your roots or whatever. And so it was really powerful the way it came together. And I was like, of course. I mean, it would make sense, right? Like, you write what you know about. So a lot of things are coming together, and I don't know how they're going to have me present the book, but I know that when it's time, it'll come together. And I am really pushing you guys for the next at least several weeks to spend as much time alone as possible, doing things that like really spark your heart, that make you want to soar, that make you want to, be happy and joyful, that make you feel love, that make you feel joy. I was putting so much emphasis on things and people and places and whatever that was my problem, or that was my problem, that was my issue. My emotions up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, right? But I'm like, no, I'm an empath. So it was like, I'm realizing now it's all about, not controlling our emotions like we're like, I don't feel, right? Not withholding, but giving sincerely gratitude, grace, and love. And having compassion for those that may never ever recognize what's happening right now. For those that, especially, think about this, if you're somebody and you have 7 generations, most of us are going on, especially Americans, right? We came from all over the place. So not that other countries aren't, right? But we were like known for like, come here, right? Until it was like, wait, there's too many, you stay out, you know what I mean? Fucking crazy shit. But anyway, right? Change the rules as we go. Like, this is the land of the free and the brave, but only those of you who, if we need you for something. If we don't need you for anything, then you need to go. A whole other thing. I'm gonna put this down for a minute. But I'm like, I'm actually gonna put this to the side because I feel like it doesn't want to be in the image. Oh, I'm looking a little paunchy. Lately, I don't know about you guys either, but I've been sleeping on my stomach. I'm a side sleeper, and I always try to sleep on my left side. They say it's healthier to sleep, so your heart, it's hard for your body. It's harder for your heart. Especially if you have heartburn, a little tip, especially if you're sleeping, move to your left side. Guarantee it'll help. And lavender oil right here really helps. Or smelling peppermint. It's just kind of like pushing it back down, or having apple cider vinegar water or something. The weird thing is acid actually counteracts acid. So if you're having, whatever, eat an apple. Apple's got a lot of acid in it. Anyway, all these little pearls that Spirit's like putting out there. But yeah, I mean, I've just been like, there's just been so many things like, my husband and I, we can barely be in the same energy field. We had a super fun night the other night, and then like, I was like, oh, this has to happen, that has to happen. I'm like, hey, and I was like kind of going by their schedule, but we've been trying to spend as much time apart as possible. We ended up having this really, really awful interaction yesterday that was like so, that's my pendulum, that was so intense. Like, it left me feeling like I literally went from one moment of like tears and like, I don't want to say begging and pleading, but it was almost like, hear me, like, hear what I'm saying, because this is like so important to them, like speaking their truth. And it like hit me like like literally like a fucking arrow through my heart, like out of nowhere, like through my heart. And I was like, you know what? oddly, it's what I needed to hear. But I just flipped, a switch just flipped in me like hasn't flipped in me in a long time. And it was almost like I just like, it was like my higher self was like, okay, and so it is. That's what you need. That's what you want. There you go. And it was really, really bizarre. I've been sharing a lot of my story with you guys lately, and I don't normally do this, but I feel like I need to. Um, it was like one minute we were at the grocery store trying to plan dinner together and talking about the next few days because they were going to be going and like the things that we both needed to do before they went on their trip and blah, 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 and things that I needed here, you know, um, to we were both shopping in the grocery store separately, like we didn't even know each other. And got back in the car and we were polite to each other, and then got back home, and I wanted to do one little thing, but that one little thing like turned into, I'll tell you one thing, use this energy and use this emotion to create or clean. Clean out the bullshit, clean out the clutter, or create something magical and powerful, because what I ended up doing was cleaning, and really deep cleaning in here like I've wanted to do for a while. And I thought I was gonna like go to the laundromat and then come back and do that and then like set everything up. Instead, I just like hung things outside and, you know, put the rugs outside. The sun was really bright and I just cleaned and I was vacuuming, and I was just like, and you know what I mean? I was just like, but next thing I know, it was like 1 minute, it was like 11, I think, or 12 or something. Oh, and he didn't even say goodbye. Like, we got out of the car, he brought things in, I brought things in, he went and did his chores, I started my chores, and then I heard his car door. I heard the car, um, or I heard his car door, and because I was in the vacuum, you know, I heard the car door, and then my gut was like, he just left. And then I stopped the vacuum and I went outside and he was gone. And I was like, holy shit. And I was like, all right, all right. I'm like, all right. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, when we talked about having the summer off, I'm like, so I realized, I'm like, obviously, he's going to have to help me because, you know, the car issue and all that kind of stuff, you know. So it's all good, but it was really, really, really interesting because I realized what has to happen moving forward. And I was like, you know, I have never felt more calm and felt more resolved than I did in that moment, to be honest. It was, see, now I'm getting hot. It was really interesting. It was really, 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 really interesting. Because I'm talking about a hot topic. I should title this hot topics, but no, I mean seriously, it's like, and then and never said, and then it was like next thing I know, it was like 5 o'clock, and I was like, you know, Spirit was like, wind down, have some dinner, and so I just like had some food and watched some movies and made some, you know, I don't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And you know, worked on my channels and just felt good. And Bubba and I had some really good time together. She slept really close to me last night. Last night she let me hold her hand for. I was the one to pull it away. So I wanted to see if she was sleeping, if she can hear me. Um, but I don't know if you guys know, but like Bubba does not like to be touched unless you know, you can feel it that she's like yes or no. But that's why I did that video where he's like ew, ew, like, because she's like, her paws are like off limits, like very rarely. That's why when she touches me with her paw or she gives me anything with her paw, I know that's like love and that's sincere. But last night I just had this moment where I was really sad because the night before, the three of us slept in the bed, and we haven't slept in the same bed together in a really long time, the three of us. And it was really sweet. And in the morning, there was just like this really like cool magic between Alder and I. At least I felt it. And and so last night, I started to cry a little bit because I was like, how does it go from that to that? How does the energy shift from that to that? How do we go from these light switch moments to like 1 minute I love you to the next minute like, if I never see you again, I think I'll be okay, you know? And I started to realize that is controlling our emotions. Of course I feel it. I'm human here. I chose to, I'm an angel, and I'm a hand of God, and I chose to be here. That is like what I'm meant to do. I am in this avatar for a reason. This is not my first time. I believe I've been here since the inception of Earth. So either I was in an avatar, or like I was part of the co-creation of like what happened, like humans or the school. You know what I mean? It's almost like if I'm a teacher, it's like I work at the school, but I have to draw up my own, schedule and work plans, right? For the kids, like what I'm going to teach them. That's basically like what that feels like. And so I started to realize that my avatar, and Kellyanne Wazalowski, Kelly Varma, like all these different incarnations of who I've been to, Lula Kelly, like all these different incarnations in 52 human years on this earth. I have been the student and the teacher, and I'm always going to be both. We're always going to be both, right? Because that is my the plan and purpose of the creation of me, right? My part of you, like my part of our co-collective. We are one cohesive unit of beings, and so Earth was designed to be this place of you know expanding and exploring the soul condition through an avatar and through human. That's why it's like this is a matrix. Like this is a game. Like it really is. Like it really fucking is. But if you cut me, I'll bleed. I'm still human. Right? So integrating that energy and remembering who we truly are is what this year is all about. That's why it's the year of the dragon, to do all these like wonderful magical things, because dragons bring luck, fortune. They're also hoarders. But they like to hoard like the good stuff, right? Like they're hoarding the useful stuff, so that they can put it back out. The dragon's not going to live forever in human form, right? Like if you think of a dragon, right, in your mind, and dragons lived on Earth, right? So if you I'm a dragon. I have a dragon on my arm. I wouldn't have a dragon tattoo, right? If I wasn't, and the word above that was a tattoo I got with a dear friend of mine at the time, and she wanted she'd gone through such a horrible time, and I said one day, we were out drinking. We used to go and love to have margaritas at this one place. She was my total fun margarita friend. If you've had a margarita friend, you know what I'm talking about. Because margarita is a whole different, tequila is a whole different animal. Tequila is a whole different drinking experience. She was my buck wild friend. Spirit said, yeah. And Amber, oh my gosh. So, this was like 20 years ago, I think now. And I remember she was just having this really tough time. And she was really emotional. And I said, do you know how much courage it takes for you to keep doing this? The fact that you even still talk to these people, the fact that after everything you've been through and everything they put you through, and the courage kept coming up. And so she's like, I love that. And she's like, you know what? I want to get that tattooed on me. I'm like, you should. I go as a reminder of like who you are. And like, all of my tattoos, I have 17, I believe. And they're all maps to my soul and my experience. I mean, that's me. I took a picture of me and when I was a redhead, and I said, I think I'm going to go back to my natural color. And I was red for like 6 years, and I said, I want to put a gypsy on me. I've been all over the world. I not over the world, but like for me, and I said, I want to, it's time for me to stay in one place for a while. So I said, I wanted to say something special, and I meditated, and I saw Heart of an Artist, Soul of a Gypsy. And I was like, I want to tattoo that on my body. And so I did. But the courage was interesting, because she said, do you want to come with me? And I said, yeah, I'm itching for a new tattoo. And she's like, oh, we should get it together. And I said, okay. And I said, oh, I'm going to put it above my dragon, So I don't know if it was the day of or the day before or something. No, it was a few days before, because she kept sending me all this different calligraphy. She's like, let's get it really pretty, And I was like, that sounds perfect. And because I was like bold, like courage, she was like, no, I think we should do it like, we did it softly. Like, here we are, like through everything. We're still, our hearts are still intact. We're still soft. We're still love. Paraphrasing, their energy of the tattoo. And then she said, she comes back to me and she sends it to me in Italian. And she said, I really want to get this because I have Italian heritage. And I said, well, she said, if you want, you can get it in English, but I want to do it in Italian. And I said, no. I said, I love that. I said, because I was raised by two very strong, powerful Italian families. I said, that'll be a nice homage to the Indovinas and the Martinos who raised me. They really did in my teen years. I mean, if I didn't have those families from the time I was 12 until I was in my 20s, like those families gave me more than my family could, or could, or were capable of at the time. So I am proud to have coraggio, and I don't know if I'm butchering that, but I believe it's coraggio, courage, to remind me, just like on this arm, I have in kanji warrior. I have so many things. I mean, I can go through and tell you all the stories, of my life. But it's time for us to step back from the past. It's not, you're never going to forget things. It's not that Spirit's saying, like, act like it never happened. I saw something recently from someone who I really respect and look up to, but they said something that I disagreed with. Big deal. It's probably one of like gazillion things I've ever disagreed. It's normal to disagree, but they said you need to delete it from your memory like it doesn't even exist. And I appreciate what they were saying, but it's like, no, I think that when we delete it, we're allowing it to take power over us. Because the truth is, once you step back and embody that, it's like, that was Kelly's memory. That was Kelly's experience. Now, Lula, who I am now, who I identify, I changed my name because I just couldn't explain why I just did not want that anymore. But I love Kelly because it means warrior in Gaelic. And, my family comes from that area too. So, I am a mutt. I'm from all over the place, which is why I have such an open heart to, loving everybody and everything from everywhere. I said the mosquito, I don't want to kill you, man. Like, I don't want to fucking kill you. And I researched, when I was researching, because I'm like, I thought these are the oils, that are repel mosquitoes. Maybe I'm doing a combo wrong, I was just like, but when I researched it, I realized the males actually don't bite. It's just the females. And the only reason why the females are taking our blood is to go feed the babies. And we need the mosquitoes for the ecosystem. I mean, it's just, we really do. And they are food for other creatures. So, everything has a purpose, whether we like it or not. And if the color of someone's skin, or the age of someone, or the extra flab of flesh is off-putting to people, I don't know how to, And so as a kid, I just was calling shit out left and right, and nobody liked it. So we're spinning back around to that. And my preacher, as much as I loved him, Ernie Miller, he was a very special man from the Tinley Park Church of Christ, is the church I grew up in as a kid. It was the church that kept us going. So I can make fun of it. I love Taylor Tomlinson. You guys know she is literally my comedic spirit animal. She, only because like she says these comedy things and these jokes about Christianity and church, and I just fucking lose it because it's so spot on. It's so spot on. Like, I'm like, dude, we went to the same fucking church. You know what I mean? Like, we had the same church, because there are so many different like churches that celebrate Christianity, that celebrate Jesus, but there's also so much of it that's like, I mean, look at Rome. I mean, it's like, there's a reason why the Vatican and all that, like, it's all fucking there for a reason. It's all there for a reason. And they were like, we're going to control this. We're going to, there were a lot of people in the churches that were very good human spirits, angels, light workers, witches, that were trying so hard. They really, really did. They really did. But they were either killed or they were, you know what I mean, like things that happen, or disgraced, or and then like, I mean, look at, like, I remember when I was a kid, the big thing that was coming out was like that all these priests were molesting children, you know, and no one would ever think that. And that's why a lot of these predators got away with so much, because they were in these places of, you know, privacy, as the British would say, you know. It's really messed up. So it's confusing right now, because we all can feel and know that this is, you know, a revelations of some kind. We know that this is the revolution, the evolution, the all of those things. We know that it's time for the darkness to go back into balance. It's time for the shadow to go back into the shadow and where it's supposed to be. You know, if you've ever seen Supernatural, the whole show, and if you haven't and you need something to binge watch, start with the very beginning, because there's like 15, 17 seasons or something like that. I don't remember anymore. But I was so grateful. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that my husband and I watched Supernatural for like years, because we would like binge watch a season, and then we would, you know, take some time off, and then we'd binge watch a season, and it was amazing. And we would Fergus. um you would totally get that. That's funny. But yeah, I mean, because I try to do accents, but I'm not. Sometimes I can nail it. If I hear it right away, I can almost nail it, because I'm good at mimicking. But that's part of my being, I think, a muse. But anyway, but there were so many things that, you know, that I was actually thinking I kind of want to watch it again, even though I binge watched it. I kind of want to watch it again, because I feel like there, like, even now I've like grown and expanded so much more. I feel like there's little pearls in there everywhere. But the whole thing is, their job is to keep the darkness from taking over the planet. That's like their fucking job. I even had to write in like a funny line from Supernatural for my Supernatural fans, because I know they'll fucking get it. Well, I mean, it's like on the nose, but it's also like they'll get it, because it's so great. I mean, it's funny. I started to realize like how much of this book series is basically like the evolution of our awakening. And it's really cool. And that's why it's had to, you know, divine timing, baby, divine timing. Especially the when I had gotten to like, I think it was like 81,000 words or something. And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, holy fuck. I'm like, I wrote 81,000 words, like 81,000 words. Like, and I just kept saying it over and over to myself, because because I was like, how does this work? I knew I wanted it to be a book series. I'm like, but I want this. Do I want to end it here for this first book? Do I want to end this here for the second book? Like, it's one of those things that it could probably go on and on and on until I die, literally. But then I started to realize that there were a lot of things that I needed to change, that I needed to go back. And so I went through and spent a lot of time editing and changing, because I had been writing the book forward, and then like changing this or changing that, or changing a character's name, or changing, like, you know, how they met or whatever. And goddess bless shortcuts, because the one character I was like, I it would take me forever to like go in, because I'm pretty sure that their name's going to be in there, like in like a lot of, you know what I mean, and like they're a big part of the book series. But then I found this shortcut, thank goddess, where I just put it in and like changed it. So that was really cool. But once I edited it down and I changed it, it was more like 65,000 words. And I was like, how do I lose that many words? And how do I? And I was like, because now it's getting tight, and now it's getting precise, and now it's getting fucking real. Now it's getting real. Now it's getting real. And, you know, and a lot of it too was tied into, I'd never written anything that big before. I've always been a poet. I've always been a songwriter, but I've never written a novel. I've written short stories. I'd started novels, but never finished them. So I was like, how is this going to work? How's this going to go? So I did a lot of research, you know, and they said the average novel, I think, was like 150,000 words or something. So that was my goal. That was my goal. And it wasn't like I was writing feverishly, like 81,000 words, like to get to the goal and be like, oh, that's it. You know, it's like, no, it's more like, you know, but then I realized it doesn't have to be that way. And then Goosebumps kept coming into my orbit, and I wasn't Goosebumps wasn't in my childhood, but it was in the childhood of like the children around me that I would babysit at that time. And so I'm slightly familiar with it, and enough to know that that's what they were saying. They're like, it could be like Goosebumps, where it's like a bunch of different books. And so I was like, so this is just your little wink, wink, too, to like, don't put so much pressure on yourself to make your voice be perfect, to make your book be perfect, to, make that recipe be perfect until you open that bakery. That's been coming up a lot, too. I've been getting a lot of foodies in our community. I've been doing shorts I've been creating a lot of shorts lately for following your dreams and taking care of yourself. But a lot of stuff's been coming up for I've been seeing baking, cooking, starting your own channel, having your own brick and mortar, having a drive around truck, or you know what I mean. It's like, because we were in these limited boxes for so long that we were placed in, both by our outer energies and by ourselves, and fear and all these things that were co-created to keep us down so that we wouldn't elevate, so that our magic wouldn't be seen by everybody. But, there's always magic under the surface, right? Look at the back of this curtain. I don't have it out because Bubba had a hairball on it, and I had to clean it, and it's kind of stained until I bring it to the thing. But it was just like, I'm like, dude, how many times I like just wash something and I'm like, mothers or people with animals that like do stuff like that, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, but this is my favorite side because this actually has like, it's shiny, but it also has like this kind of rainbow sheen when the light hits it. It's really cool, but you wouldn't know that to see it, because it's under the surface. So don't let other people or other things, or you know what I mean? Don't compare yourself to another artist. You can be inspired. Lately, I haven't been wanting to play my piano, and I was getting upset because when I first got the piano, I was playing it a lot, and I was writing songs, and I was feeling really good. Then I was going through all these other things, and I was like, what's happening? And then Spirit was like, you need some time alone. You need some time, by yourself. And, as much as I didn't want to believe it, my partner was right. He's like, I just need to be alone this summer. And I was like, yep, you know what? I'm like, me too. I was like, me too. And, it's like, I know that when I need it, they'll be there. You know what I mean? Like, if I need something, I feel like I've been struggling this whole time to, like, look underneath. Because I just pulled that down. But I know that when I need stuff, I'll get it. Like, that's just such an old programming to live in, like, a fear base that it's not going to happen. Or also I've been getting this, don't live in this, it's not going to happen for me, because it is going to happen for you. I've been through that my whole life. I cannot tell you how many times I've auditioned for things and gotten really close. Some people are like, if you really loved it, you would have kept going. I'm like, I tried, but it was like killing my soul. I'm like, I'm good at other things too. I'm like, I'll just do these other things, and if it comes back around, it will. And if it doesn't, it wasn't meant to be. Maybe I was just meant to be like the star, of my school, or, the star of that play and get a standing ovation. Maybe that's just enough. You know what I mean? Like, maybe a scholarship, for this is enough. Like, why do I have to like fully finish the degree? Like, why can't I remember when there's so many times in my life that I didn't finish things that my family and my friends would be like, oh my God, you were so close, or how come, or but why? I talk about this all the time. And I remember like when I went back to college in my late 30s, and I was studying fashion design, and I'd been in school for 1 year and 9 months straight. I was exhausted. I was working 2 jobs, and I wasn't a senior. I was considered, I guess, a junior or sophomore or junior at the time. I don't remember how they would consider it, the way that my credits went, because I only went to school part-time because I had to work to survive. So I only went to school part-time. I took 2 classes per semester or per quarter. So there were 4 quarters. So if you do the math, so I did 9 quarters of school. And I had always said to myself, if I got to draping and I felt good about it, I was going to leave. Well, not only did I get to draping and I felt good about it and I was thinking about leaving, but then my school saw the work that I was, actually this was before that. I know that actually was when I was a freshman. So when I was a freshman, there was a contest that was only for seniors. And it was like a project that went on the whole last quarter of the seniors year, and then they would pick certain seniors and they would do like a showcase, whatever, on the most, like, the best talent coming out of the school, basically, is what they would do. And they would have, like, all these companies would come and look, at your stuff, boutiques, different things, so they would come for the designers anyway. They did it for everybody, but I'm just saying for the designers, that's how they did it, right? You would have to put out a collection. So long story short, the freshmen are not asked to do that, right? You're not at that level. But I had made this dress, and my teacher was like, holy shit. Like, my professor was like, nobody helped you. Nobody, come on, nobody helped you do that. And I was like, well, I'm like, the only thing they did is that I was frustrated when I couldn't figure out the collar. I'm like, I was frustrated and I was crying in the lab. And one of my artist friends said, you're looking at it the wrong way. And I was like, what? And I go, all he did was turn it upside down. I said, so if you say someone helped me, I'm like, he just helped me because, if you're going to school and you're working, or if you're working and you have kids or a family or whatever, like, it's a lot. Like, if your brain just gets overwhelmed, if you're looking at something so close, like, you can be looking right at it and miss it. And my pattern was so intricate. And so she was like, you've never made patterns before? I'm like, no, I've followed patterns, but I've never made a pattern before. And math was at the time not my strong suit. I was getting better at it. And so when he did that, I went, oh, and he just kind of winked and walked out of the room. And so I was just so exhausted. I probably would have seen it, but I was under a time crunch. I had like 6 hours to finish the project and get it in, or else I was going to not, you know what I mean? And you can ask for an extension, but like, I just didn't want to do that. I was so close to finishing it. Plus, I was exhausted, and it was like a gown, and I was like, I just put so much effort into it. And most people, for their first pattern making 101, you know what I mean, don't make something as elaborate as I did. And she even told me, I asked her if I can make it, and she said, yes, but you can't get any help from anybody. That's really elaborate, and that's not what that's for. Like, everybody else was making like the most simple, basic shit, and I wanted to make this like gown that I saw, like, I think it was Lucille Ball in like the 50s at the Oscars or something. And I was like, it's so fucking cool and gorgeous. And I found this fabric, and it was just like everything aligned. And I was like, I have to make this dress. And she was like, okay, So anyway, I ended up finishing it. I got an A. And like on that day that it was out, they were having something with the seniors that were walking through. And they said, holy shit, like, we need to like keep an eye on this person or whatever. And about a week before the showcase was over, a week before the showcase was, I don't remember what they were there for. They were there for something. I just remember these people walking through. It was like the school people, like the head of the school, or like the contributor. What do you call them? Like the alumni and things like that. You know what I mean? It was an art school. But it was just, I don't remember. It was so long ago now. It was like, seriously, I've been here 13 years. It must have been 15, 16 years ago. And they asked me to make something for this event that they were doing for an anniversary of this bilingual newspaper, this Spanish-English newspaper. It was their 30th anniversary, and they thought it would be fun to do something artistic and creative because they had a whole entire, I don't know if it was a warehouse or whatever, of all of these old copies of their, 30 years worth. And interestingly enough, most people chose, this one or that one, like things that were more black and white that were easier. And I got what was left over, but mine ended up being super fun because mine had like color in it, because it was, Spanish. It was like, I don't know if it was just Mexican, but it was Spanish speaking. I don't remember what I have it somewhere, or I used to. I don't know if I have it anymore. I think I might have got rid of it. But anyway, sorry, I'm getting tired. I didn't plan on doing this or telling this story, and I'm trying to remember the details. It was so long ago. But the long and short of it is that my dress made it onto the cover of a newspaper in Chicago. So it was pretty exciting. I got to walk the red carpet with my model wearing my dress. The mayor of Chicago came. I got to talk to and meet Mayor Daley, who, you know, you can call him a crook or not, but either way, growing up, he was like the mayor. He was like, to me, he was like the king of Chicago. So I was like, you know, like, I'm not stupid. I know who he is and what he was, but he also protected and took after. People can say what they want about the mob, but did you notice when the mob left Chicago that it went fucking crazy? Anyway, you know, sometimes you want those people in the shadows cleaning up in the background things that you don't know about. So it was a powerful, powerful moment. And I remember there were times where I wanted to give up because I was like, all I ever wanted was to just make some, I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. And when I was growing up, a friend of mine and I, we both love fashion so much, and she really wanted to be a designer. She had the most amazing like designs and stuff, and I just never had the courage to try. But I wanted to too. My mom made my clothes when I was growing up. I made clothes like in home ec. Like I know how to make things, but I was like stuck in this like it has to be brand new, a designer or whatever. Like, you know, you had to pick one thing, so it never like really, like, I would adjust and make my clothes and my outfits really cool, but like I never thought about being a designer. I actually went to college to be an interior designer, but switched my majors when, you know, after I went to all these schools and, you know, and all that, scouted all these schools and then talked to, you know, the school I ended up going to. She was like, I think this is who you are. She's like, I think this is where you belong, you know. And I was so grateful to her because she was right. So, you know, sometimes it's like, you know, you might go this way or that way or whatever, but it's like follow the breadcrumbs, you know. I didn't graduate, but I didn't need to, and I'm glad that I the only promise I made to myself was that I would get to draping because it was the one thing I really wanted to learn. I didn't really know that much, you know, and the internet back then, even though it was big, it's not like it is now, you know, where people are like, there's tutorials everywhere you fucking look, you know. But now I'm like, you don't just go to fucking YouTube school. You don't need to go to, you know, a university or anything like that unless you need to, right? Like you have to, you can't just watch surgeries. You need to like go and practice on cadavers, right? You know, it's like you can't just, you know what I mean? Like you can't just work on humans or animals or whatever against their will. It's like people donate their bodies to science. I've donated my body, you know, like if I'm like whatever's salvageable when I die, it's yours, you know, give it to whoever needs it, you know, put it back, you know, if not, like just burn me and to effigy and let me just go into the ethers, you know, whatever. Um, but there's, that's my fire in me. That's my triple sag. It's like, let me burn away. Sorry, I feel like I've had something on my truth this whole time. If I did, I'm sorry if I did. Um, so yeah, I just feel like there is this congruence, is that the word, of energies that, you know, from our past, our present, the emotions, and like flying into all these things where it's like the Lionsgate portal, and this year is super special, the year of the dragon. And then next year is the year of the snake. I mean, it's like it's all been planned, right? Like shedding our skin, like really shedding our skin. So this is the year that it's like they've been telling us for years to get our shit together. Light workers, star seeds, like this is happening. You're meant to be weird. You're meant to be an outcast. Like we need you to be that because we need people to, you know what I mean? Like I've been who I am. I've tried my damnedest to be as authentic as I possibly can since I can remember, you know, and the only times I was not that was when I was lying to myself about who and what I am. The crane is over there now. I feel like I'm like, where's my phone? Oh, it's over on the charger. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so cute. It's on my water. Oh, drink water. See, look it was on the curtain and now it's on the water. Drink some water. See, they're everywhere. Signs are everywhere. Drink water. Also, salt. I know they say don't have a lot of salt because it's bad for hypertension and retaining water and all that, but for some reason right now, I don't know why, but I feel like we are meant to have salt. I have been craving pretzels. I don't even, it's not even, it's like such an old food that I used to eat. Like if I want a chip, I'm going to have like, I love beet chips. I love, you know, Terra chips, you know, like I like those kind of thing, like root vegetable chips. I love potato chips. I love corn chips, but I am pretzels, wheat, like all that, like not really my jam. And so like, but recently I've been craving pretzels, but like the crunchy pretzels with the big chunks of like salt on them. And I was in the co-op yesterday and I found these magical pretzels called 7 grain something. Oh my gosh. I opened the bag and I was like, it was like smelling a memory. And then I was like eating them by themselves. I'm like, dude, this is a fucking good pretzel. I'm like, this is a really good fucking pretzel. Like, I was in love with this pretzel. And I'm like, I'm like, oh, I didn't get a dip or anything. I'm like, oh, maybe mustard. I used to love it and dipping it in mustard. And I'm like, oh, I have hummus. And so I had hummus and I had like all these different hot sauces and jalapenos. And I was like, yum. And I like have this really yummy snack that I was like, interesting. But interesting. And I had sugar yesterday, and that's getting back to the beginning. So I've been like blaming people, places, things for like my misgivings, shortcomings, like whatever. But yesterday I had like 2/3 of a chocolate bar. It's healthy and organic, but it's sugar. It's a caramel. It was a dark chocolate caramel, and I don't have sugar unless it's coconut sugar or some type of plant sugar. I try not to have refined sugar. I know sugar cane is whatever, but I try not to have refined sugar. My body just doesn't really like it. But I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna have this. This is my treat, and so I felt fine today. I didn't have a sugar hangover. I didn't feel sick. However, I wouldn't say like do it all the time, but like now when I get done with this, like I will replenish and I will eat, this food and that food and whatever. But yeah, I am craving water. I am craving salt a lot. So if you are doing the same, just keep drinking water, stay hydrated, because you don't want to drink so much water that you're flushing the nutrients out of your system, right? That's why they say like when you eat, let your body try not to drink too much water when you eat, because you can actually flush out like the nutrients and like the goodness of the food, that like the healthy part of the food that you need. That's what they say. I don't know if this is true, but this is what I've read. Also here, hold on. There's been this weird smell coming off of things lately where I'm like, what is it? Like where I'm smelling plastic. And I think it's because I'm on a extension cord. So sometimes like when I have like a bunch of things charging at once, I feel like I'm smelling burning. And so I just like take everything off. Anyway, I feel like I'm just rambling now. It's been over an hour. I feel like you guys get the point. Like, I'm wearing my comfy sweats. I'm like, I just want to be comfy and cozy and talk to you guys. I'm like, I wish you could just come in here with me and like hang out and we can eat fun foods and watch movies, because that's what I'm going to do when I'm done with this, and just take care of ourselves. We are in the rest and restore energy. Try and be the observer as much as possible. The crane fly, and look at the crane fly's gone now. Oh, they just went back on the water. I said that and they went, but they're doing the sidestep thing. Oh my gosh. I feel like I have to stop this just to take a video of how cute they are. Yeah. Okay. And also I feel like they're telling me to go post information about the crane fly, and you do the same. Research the crane fly spirit animal and, work through the past, work through your memories, your energies. You don't want to delete them if you haven't worked through them, because we still have muscle memory, cellular memory. Even if you delete it from your mind, from your memory, your body still remembers things. That's why we have that, right? Some things we need. It's there for a reason, to protect us, right? Because if you're like, just like, la 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 la, and walking around, and then you like walk out in front of a car and get hit, right? Maybe it's meant to be, maybe it's not. That's when you have that person that pulls you out of the way and the angels are working overtime because you're just like off in the fucking clouds doing whatever. We're in fire energy right now, and if you're an air sign, water sign, even earth, right? It's like fire is like water puts out fire, but if fire gets going, it can be really dangerous. So be mindful of what you're saying, but speak your truth. Speak from your heart. Yesterday I had to speak through tears and my emotion, because I was like, I don't know how to explain to you how this feels or how I'm feeling when this happens. And to have no reaction right now, I realize I'm like, the divine masculine is really in a fucked up state right now, because it's almost as if I don't even know my partner. But that's okay, because that's where they need to be. And I don't know if we'll come back around or if this is really it, but I do know that for now, I need my space. They need their space. I need to work on me and myself. They need to work on them and their self. And, never the twain shall meet in this where we are now, maybe it's a week, maybe it's a month, maybe it's a year, maybe it's forever. I don't know. And I feel like you need to be open to that too. Just getting out of there, just being like, even if you move to a place where it's like not the most comfortable you've ever been, I feel like that will like catapult you. I watched this movie last night where there was so much medicine going on, it wasn't even funny in the movie. But one of the things was that the person allowed the other person to stay there, and they were like, it's been, they're like, what, you really need to start thinking about getting your own place. They're like, I've been trying, you see me, I'm trying to, get a job and blah. She's like, yeah, but you know what, that's your dream, I get it, but like, she's like, I just graduated, like I'm doing my best. And she's like, I know, but I just don't know if you can stay here, because it was like an older sister, younger sister situation, and the older sister was like, my husband and my kids, and then finally, like later, the husband says to her, "Why are you treating her like that?" He's like, "She's chasing her dream. She's been here 4 months. She hasn't been here like years." He's like, and the kids love being here, and he's like, she's been helping out or whatever, and he's like, "Why are you being so hard on her?" And he goes, I think you're being hard on her because she's living her dream and you're not. And he's like, and that's not really fair to her, you know. And she's and the funny thing is that she didn't work, the husband worked, and she was saying to her, like, you can't just stay here in a free ride, you need to get out there. And she was just like, and now she works, obviously she's a mother and stayed home, you know what I mean, don't come at me, moms, you know what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, like, she finally, even at the end, was like, I've always been a little jealous of you that, you can chase after your dreams. And she's like, but you are living your dream. You always wanted to be a mom, and you are, and you love it. And she's like, I know. She's like, but I feel like they're just, every day they're moving away from me. What am I going to do when they, and she's like, what do you want to do? And then they finally came together. It was a really great conversation. But sometimes, at the end, she was like, you can stay. And she's like, you know what? No, you were right. She's like, look, I did this. And she ended up getting this job that was, not what she wanted, but she got this server job, and she ended up meeting all these people and having a different experience, and meeting this person helped her to meet this person, and it led her to her dream job. So, do something that may not be your dream job, but, you may have to live in an uncomfortable situation, 2 months, 4 months, just to save so that you can, and wouldn't it be better to stay in a situation where you either don't have to pay and you can save, or stay in a situation where it's not a high amount of money and save, and it may not be the best situation, but that it'll get you to where you are, because this is the year for us to launch our shit. This is the year for us. Use the dragon energy, the luck, the fortune, the good luck and fortune, the good fortune. Like, just keep saying, like, I'm abundant, just manifest in your mind, like, who are you? What do you want? This new moon in Leo, I feel like we're going to do something really powerful for that. I don't know, because it's like, we got that Mercury retrograde, and then we have the Lionsgate/Dragon's Gate portal, really powerful. And, besides Samhain, this is my favorite time of the year, because even though the 12/12 portals the day before my birthday, the 13th, and I've always loved that. I love the 4/4 portal. Everyone has 1 1 2 2 3 3 4 4 7 7. You know what I mean? It's like, doesn't matter. But the 8/8 portal is so exciting because in Samhain, Day of the Dead, Dios de los Muertos, like that's when the veil is the thinnest between us and the ancestors, the dead. That's when, a lot of real cool magic happens. But when the 8/8 portal happens, that's when it's like the gateway to the heavens, the gateway to the universe. That's when it's like, they're all going to be flooding in. I mean, you can see them everywhere. I'm seeing them everywhere, in babies, in animals. Like, there's so much magic happening on the planet. Like, there's literally no reason to be fearful or have any fear whatsoever, because once you pull yourself away from that negative situation, you won't even believe how fast it's going to happen for you. And for some of you, it will happen overnight, and it's just a matter of believing in yourself, believing in the work that you've done up until this point, and to keep going. Of course, I have moments where I'm like, I'll see certain healers, readers, whatever, and I'm like, I'm so confused, I'm like, because they'll say this or that, and I'm like, shouldn't we blah blah blah, and how come, but over the years, I would start to go somewhere, and there'd be like a block, and I'd be like, what the fuck? Or I'd be reading for somebody, and I'd be on a roll, and they're like waiting on the edge of their seat, and then I'm like, nothing, I got nothing. They're like, what do you mean? So what should I do? I'm like, you have to figure it out for yourself. They're like, well, what the fuck did I pay you for? Kind of energy, and I'm like, to get you to this point so you can figure out the rest. I'm not a Zoltar machine. You have to figure out the rest. Like, you have to fucking use those breadcrumbs and figure out the rest. But you have to take the first leap of faith. They cannot do it for you. And so that's what I realized was like, you know, he did me a favor. I was like, what if you stay until blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, then we have the new moon. And then we have the Lionsgate portal. And then, you know, I was like, oh, and then Virgo season is going to be Earth. You know, it's like, I'm seeing all these things. And I just saw their face and I was like, not saying stay forever, but I was like, you're like me, you know, you know, run on the moon cycles. And it's true. We run on the moon cycles, the cycles of the energy. So I was like, no, they're right. They need to be where they need to be. I need to be where I need to be. You need to be where you need to be. And whoever they are, that whoever you're not aligning with, whoever doesn't keep you in a high vibration, that dulls your shimmer, that dulls your roar, whomever that is, they cannot be in your orbit anymore. And even if you have to say, I'm taking a break from everybody and everything for a while, then you need to take a break from everything and everyone for a while. You will find a way. Pray on it, meditate on it, be quiet, get quiet and still so that you can listen to the answers, because they're trying to talk to you and they're trying to give you the breadcrumbs, but you cannot get there if you do not take that first step. I promise you. I've wanted to give up a million times. I really honestly thought I was going to be a star. And then I was starting to really give up again. And then recently, all of these things started to come to me. And then once I stepped into my power and I started doing my readings again, I started really working on music again, I started seeing all these artists and using them as inspiration. Like I was saying earlier, like I'm not like, that's my nails, I'm not like copying someone, but like I'll hear a song and I'm like, oh, and so I'll write down in the energy of Glorious by Kate Hudson, and then I like started writing this song only to kind of remember, like, because sometimes I'll write down the words, but then, and I'll hear the music, but then I won't like hum it, or you know. And that's why now I understand, like Taylor, Dolly Parton, like all these people have been coming into my orbit lately talking about how they write songs and how they write music. And to hear Dolly say, like, if she doesn't write it down immediately, like she'll lose it. She's like, and Taylor say the same thing, and Taylor's like, oh my gosh, my friends, everybody knows. She's like, they're just used to it, you know. And it could be like someone could be in mid-sentence and I'm like, hold on a second, I have to write this down, you know. Because I'm like, hold on, I'm like, I just got you know, an idea. But that's what we need to do. Don't put that off. When you get that idea, write it down in that moment. I don't care where you are. You know, say you got to take a pee break. You know, say at work. You know, say I just got my moon, boss. I gotta go. You know, whatever. Have you ever noticed that? That was always my thing. If I really needed like a moment to breathe or whatever, when I was working in the man's world and was like, I don't belong here. I can't work here. I can't be here. I can't do this. I can't do this. Like, and I would in my mind, I would start to shut down and freak the fuck out. I would like go take a break, or you know, that's when I used to smoke too, or I'd be like, you know, I need to leave early. And if my boss was like, you know, you left early like last month, I'm like, I know, because you know, I just got my period, you know. And they'd be like, oh, okay, you know. I'm like, I don't have an extra set of clothes. And I'm like, well, you know, maybe you should keep an extra set of clothes here. And I was like, well, maybe if you had somewhere where I can go and wash up and take a shower. And they're like, oh, okay, you know, like they didn't want to hear it. So women could use that, but boys, men, divine masculine, whatever, I don't know, you know. But either way, I am rambling on now. And you know, it's just, I share my stories with you, and I'm sharing my personal life with you at this point, and at this juncture, because a lot of you have been with me a long time. You've seen me go through so much. You've seen me go through the gamut. I've never asked you to do anything I haven't done first. And so I believe in you, and I know you're powerful and you're creative, and you're giving way too much energy to everybody else. Way too much. You know, and I'm saying this for all of us, like a blanket. If you found yourself here, you know, because between the political stuff and the bullshit, and there's just so much, and they've tried so hard, and the light's like, sorry baby, we're here, and the shadow's like, cool. And the shadow's retreating too, because they're tired too. Like, they want to go back and they have their job, we have our job. I love Lucifer just as much as I love Archangel Michael, right? Like, Lucifer's an archangel. I love them. I love all my angel family. Like, we all have a purpose. You know, yesterday I looked at my partner in the eyes and I was telling him these things and he was blinking. Every time I would say something really prolific, he'd blink. And you know, they say a lot of times when you blink, it's because you either don't believe it or you don't accept that divinity in yourself. And so it's hard for you to. But the more I've been saying, like, I'm an angel, like, I don't have to blink because I know that I am. I don't have to, like, you know, hide anymore. I know what I am, and I'm not of this earth. None of us really are. But at the same time, it's like I was brought here to show you in human form. I'm here to show you that, like, you can do it, that it is conceivable. And it's not easy for us, but we are powerful. And it's to take your power back. Every single time you walk away from the fear-based energy, you take your power back. And that's why I was like, I told him yesterday, I'm like, I love you with all that is holy. And through tears, I was like, I love you to my core. I'm like, but I literally, like, I love being alone right now. I'm like, I cannot have that. I don't want to be in that because I don't need to be. My job right now is to stay in the most elevated high vibration as possible, to pave the way and to set the foundation, to lay the foundation for those very big light energies to come in. I'm a fucking anchor, and if you're here, so are you. You are a motherfucking anchor of light. We need you now. And if you don't think that you're an anchor of light, then you need to find that, you know, go figure it out. You know, I was telling him yesterday, I was like, I want to do all these things with you, like new moon. I go, can we at least like see each other? I'm like, I feel like the new moon is in, I kept saying Sagittarius because it's fire, and his moon's in Sagittarius, and I'm a triple Sag, and I was like, you know, I'm like, I think this Leo fire is going to be, you know, strength. I was like, I think this Leo fire is going to be really powerful, this moon. Like, there's just a lot, you know, burning away, and I feel like this end of this Cancer is like where we're at the like sadness, but then that's going to burn it away, just like the dragons are burning away, you know. And then we'll go through another cycle because it's the first, like, you know what I mean, like it's the first water sign. So now we've gone through a complete, we went Aries fire, Taurus earth, Gemini air, and Cancer water. And now we're starting the next rotation through the second decan of it, right? So I guess that's how you would explain it, right? Or I don't know if that's just astrology, but you, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. So it's just like the second part, right? So we're going into the next form of fire. But what is Leo? Leos are like, me, baby, look at me, look at me, look at me. So this moon is going to be really cool and really powerful. And this is where it's like all of our gifts, all those things are going to fire up. But right now, we're kind of like purging, letting go of that, you know. And then we'll do it again, you know, through Cancer, or through, excuse me, Scorpio. And then the Sagittarius fire after that. But the same, you know, it'll go, you know, Virgo earth. And then, you know, Libra air, and the same, right? You know, and Scorpio water, and we'll just keep, you know, going through that. And then when we get through that last, you know, bit there, you know, when we're at the end of that Pisces, we'll be going into the snake. So, you know, I would say, without even looking at an astrology report, that I would think that the Pisces season 2025 is probably going to be pretty profound for everybody. And we will be shedding, and snakes are beautiful, and they have a lot to give. And so anyway, I love you, and I just want you to love yourself. That is what I'm realizing, is that the more I love myself, the more I can identify the energy of people who aren't loving themselves, because you wouldn't treat somebody a certain way, or watch somebody that you care about go through something so hard and not even have any fucking change of emotion in your face, like be completely emotionless. Like, when somebody cries in front of me, it's rare that I don't cry, you know, because empathically I feel it in my heart, and when it's sincere and it's real, you know, that's how I know. That's my bullshit barometer, and you have a bullshit barometer too. This is how we know, you know. And it doesn't mean you don't love that person or whatever, but it's like they need to figure their shit out, and some people may not change in this lifetime, and you have got to let that go. You cannot stay there. You cannot stay there. You know, as gross as this analogy is going to feel, it's what they're giving me, so I'm giving it to you. If you lose somebody, meaning they die, if their avatar dies and they go on to the next plane, the next realm, wherever they go, if they die and you see their body, at the funeral, the wake, whatever, would you pick up the dead body and start dragging it around with you and hanging out with it? Like, I think it was Saving Silverman or something like that. It was like one of those movies, or what was it called? You know the one I'm talking about, where the two guys, it was like an 80s or early 90s movie where the two guys drag around this dead body. Anyway, it's a comedy. It's a dark comedy, but it's like, that's basically what they're trying to show you is, right? Weekend at Bernie's. Weekend at Bernie's. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen that in forever. Research it, seek it out. But, but it's like, would you really do that? No. They're dead. And some people, you have to look at it like that. They may come back to life in that avatar. Their higher self may shine through and come back in that avatar. But right now, that avatar, it's dead. It's gone. It's buried. Like, there's nothing you can. Sorry, I'm like trying to pull my. I'm like, what was that, Mr. He's like, I must say. There is, to everything, turn. There is a season, turn. But you're asking too much of these people. You're asking them to be something they're not. And you are trying to be something you're not. You're not dead. You're alive. And you're a white light anchor. You're a motherfucking anchor. They keep saying that like in such a powerful way. Like, because they're stressing it. They're like, you don't understand. Like, if you're seeing this video, you really are an anchor. And there's no more time left. We need you now. So this is the time, Now, if you don't want to move during Mercury retrograde, I can't tell you what to do. But we moved here on the 4/4 portal during Mercury retrograde during the solar eclipse. We had the biggest fight. It was awful. We went from being in Loverville and happy and couldn't wait for the next chapter to like wanting to murder each other that day. And since then, we've been on a roller coaster together. And it's because our whole entire relationship was like, when we started, we were both kind of like here. I might have been a little slightly above just because I'd been practicing it longer than him at that point. But we have been like this for 9 years. And we don't stay on this plane very long, but it's okay because it helps us grow. Some people would say maybe we're twin flames. I don't know if it's real or it's not, but either way, we're both. I told him yesterday, I was crying. I'm like, dude, you are just like me. You're not just this average third dimensional person, but if you think you are, like, if you want to stay in that energy, in that orbit, like, not they think they're, I'm speaking for them. I'm just saying, like, the things that were happening, I was like, that do you not get, like, how awful that is, or do you not get how, like, narcissistic that sounds, or like how, there's self-care and there's selfish. Huge difference. Huge difference. Because sometimes we have to be a little inconvenienced. If you're in a partnership with somebody, sometimes you have to give and take because you're coexisting together. It can't always be one way, your way or the highway. Nobody should. And if you're in a situation like that, then pull yourself out of it. And that's what I realized. I was like, nope. And that's why the light switch went off for me. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to have this conversation with this past person. When you're ready, we can have another conversation. But I'm like, no. And I feel like it's the same for you. It's just not, it's not cohesive to like who we are now and who and what we are now. So, this is just like a friendly love and reminder from Spirit that we're going to go through this. And it's natural right now. But the more you pull away from the darkness, the shadow, the social media bullshit, the comparing, Dude, I was watching the other day, this reading came into my orbit. I've never seen this person before. And I am telling you with everything that I am, they were not real. There's some AI. And the funny thing is when they started the reading, they said something like they're trying to be cool, doing the cards, like shuffling the cards, and talking about how there are no bullshit and you really want to, watch their readings and, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, she's a robot. I'm like, she's not a human. She's not human. And then I was like, oh, is she like an angel? Like from Spirit, But then I was like, no, there was something that she gave me the fucking crepes. She was beautiful. Her nails were perfect. Her makeup was perfect. Her outfit was cool. Her home background, You know what I mean? I was like, there is just so much fakery and fuckery out there, you guys. There's just so much that it's like. So I'm gonna close it with this. How I know who and what we are and what we're meant to do right now is that I have been getting things in my orbit so much that I just started to cry the last one I saw, and it said, God has been keeping you hidden for a reason. The Creator's been keeping you hidden for a reason. But all those times I was like, why didn't I make it? Why didn't I get that movie part? Why didn't I get that national commercial? Why didn't I? Because I wasn't ready. I wasn't cooked. I wasn't ready. It wasn't divine timing. Now it's divine timing. Now I've got 52 years under my belt. 52 years times 365 days. That many days. Hundreds of thousands of days of lessons, of learning, experiences, and people, and situations, and places, and things, and cultures, and politics, and you name it, so that I can come correct, because I'm not fucking AI. I'm the real deal. And I come from a place that I don't need to know exactly where it is. I just know that it's not of this earth. I was like, I blinked because I was like, I feel like I know what it is, but I feel like I come from Arcturus, or at least like there's like Arcturian or something in me, or like I'm speaking for the Arcturians in this incarnation. I don't know. But wherever I come from, I feel like I come from the intelligence of the Creator, if that makes any sense, and I come from the heart of the Creator. So like, divine masculine and divine feminine. It's like our yin and yang. Like there's definitely something really powerful about what I am and what I was brought here to do. And I'm definitely a muse, and I love to act and music and all of that. And I've met so many celebrities, or had friendships with, very famous people or people of influence over my lifetime, that they themselves even were like, I don't know who you are, but like, thank you, or like, you are so special, thank you for being my angel. So whatever it is we're meant to do here, don't be closed off, be open to it. If you think you're the fucking second coming, then you are. I feel like I'm the second coming, so to speak, but it's not just me. I feel like I'm in a legion of soldiers. There's definitely a lot of me. But I also know that even in people like me, I know that I'm in a place that is different. I don't know what that means. I don't know what the hierarchy, lowercase of it means. I don't think I need to know, at least not right now. I know that I am an oracle and a medium of sorts, and that I can tell what someone's thinking. I either hear their thoughts, feel their thoughts, smell their thoughts, you know what I mean, like their energy, whatever. Like I have them all, but it's not always the same. It's not consistent, which is why people get frustrated. They're like, I thought you were a medium. I'm like, I am. I'm like, but that doesn't mean I'm supposed to give you all the fucking information right now, or that doesn't mean that, blah blah blah. It's like, that's just not the way it works. And it's like an ever evolving energy, and that's what I am. I'm an oracle, I'm a medium, and I'm an angel, and I'm holding, or whatever I am is angelic, holding an anchored light in this system. If you brought Kelly, let's just say 17-year-old Kelly, and you brought 52-year-old Kelly together, because now 52-year-old Kelly has become Lula, and you brought them together, imagine what 17-year-old Kelly would have turned out like if 52-year-old Kelly had been teaching her whole life. They segregate us. If I was born in a tribe of, I just saw something recently where they had footage of one of the last indigenous tribes on the planet that's fully indigenous. Like they've never had any electricity, no running water, you know what I mean? Like fully rainforest, like, barely covered, running around, you know what I mean? Like they are like, you show them technology, that's magic. They're like, what is that? You know what I mean? It's like, it's magic. It's all in the way you look at things. But in those tribes, when you are a child, there are the elders there that observe and see what they're good at. See who's good at this, who's good at that, who's our good hunters that'll help bring us food, who are the good gatherers that will bring us food, who are the seers that will help us to make sure that we bring things in so our food doesn't get destroyed, because they know that a rainstorm's coming, even though they'd be able to normally tell, but like a flash, you know what I mean? It's like there's all these things. It's like we have just been dumbed down and dulled down, and our lights have been, we were almost like the darkness had almost, there was a speck of light there, and all of a sudden we're like, I'm here, you know what I mean? And now it's like we've been doing this for 50 plus years, and now the light is so bright. So now we're holding this ground and this foundation. So the Lionsgate portal of 2024 is going to be so magical, especially because 2024 itself is its own energy, and it's an 8, which is infinity, and dragons, the symbol for the dragon is infinity, the number 8. One of them, one of many. So the year of the dragon in 2024, just everything's happening astrologically. And hello, 8, 8, 8. It's a triple fucking 8. And the last time that happened was when the year came out to the number 8. So this is some serious fucking magic. And definitely over the next few weeks, do not diminish your light by being around those who are oblivious to what's really happening. And that's what I was trying to say to him. I was like cramming a bunch of information to him yesterday. I was trying to say, I'm like, do you understand? I'm like, do you remember that one time? I was like trying to tell him all these things we've done, like these spiritual, magical things, because he's experienced the magic with me. And I was like, that's what this is. I'm like, that's what this is. But this is like on a bigger, like, and I'm like, you remember? He's like, yeah, I remember that. I'm like, this is like on a whole other fucking level. I'm like, this is like, I'm like, I feel like you, me, and Bubba maybe should be here. Like, wherever two or more gather, or like you get together with other people. So it's like to bring the energy. You may want to participate in a live event, like if, Steve Noble, or like, those kind of light workers, anybody who's doing anything that's a live event that you really in your core know, like they're the real deal. They're the shit, the shiznit. Like those are the people that you want to be spending like the Lionsgate portal with. And I would say over that time, over that window of time, even the new moon, especially if you're trying to change the trajectory of your life, then this new moon is like the time that you do that. Like maybe you make the move, or even on that day, you're like, I'm going here and I'm not coming home for 2 weeks. Like, I don't care if I go camping and I only have $40. I'm going to make it fucking work. I'm going to go and camp in my car. I'm going to go to the coast. I'm going to, whatever. I don't care what the fuck you have to do. Especially Northern Hemisphere people. It's summertime. You work it out. It's not so cold that you can't go somewhere. I'm telling you. I just feel this pull. Go to places like Glastonbury, or like places that are known to be magical, like Stonehenge. Like go to places. That's what came into my mind. I'm like, I can't help it. I'm like, there's so many people. Maybe because I was just thinking of so many people on here that have experienced that and shared that with me. I was thinking about Steve Noble and his experience at Stonehenge this year. There's just a lot of really cool things that, so go to really prolific places. If there's a mountain like in Washington, Mount Rainier is like known to like house aliens. Mount Shasta, like go to those places, go to the high vibrational places so that you can like raise the energy. If you don't have a community of people, if you have a community of people, then get with your community and go out in nature. Go somewhere really, I'm like, I've already been thinking, like, I kind of want to go like somewhere powerful. But then I thought, yeah, but I feel like Bubba wants to be part of it too, It's like, so we'll see what happens. But, I really thought this was going to be short and sweet and to the point. But I feel like if you're still here, like you were meant to be here, even if it's just, a few of you, I want to share this with you. I want to share my journey with you as much as possible so that you know that and believe and have faith, because right now it's all about faith. I've never had more faith in myself and spirit and you and what's happening. I've never had more faith. And when I was growing up, I would ask like my church people, I would ask them questions about this or that or things about the Bible. They're like, you just have to have faith. You just have to have faith. But what concerns me is that there's so much hatred and bigotry in the Bible. I can't even, I know this is awful and I send her love, but like, I'm a Hallmark person and I love their stuff because I don't care who's running it, what's happening. There is still light behind that because I always feel good. And someone one time was like, oh, I don't watch those because they're not real. I'm like, They are real. They can be real if you want them to be real. You know, they're like, oh, it's always about, you know, this person. I'm like, yeah, they kind of are the same stories refiltered over and over and over again. But that's why, because they're life lessons that they're teaching you over and over and over again. Don't just give up because your mom died and now you hate Christmas. It's like, no. It's like, find a reason why you loved Christmas before. And if you never loved Christmas, find a way. Because Christmas isn't just about Christ consciousness, even though that's what it feels like to me, a celebration of Christ consciousness. It's the birth of the energy of Christ consciousness. I don't know if it's so much the birth of him himself, right? Because it's not, you know, technically speaking, his birthday, right? But their Christ consciousness existed, even if in a book for us to, you know, we could have just been created, you know, a week ago, but we were downloaded all this information where we think we've had thousands of years on this planet. You know what I mean? It's literally any way you fucking look at it, and I'm not going to take that away from you. Whatever you believe in is what you believe in. I'm telling you from my experience, though, that, you know, it really is what you make of it. And if you decide that you want your life to be a Hallmark movie, then it fucking will. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with feeling that sense of community and people who care about each other. It doesn't make you uncool because you want to be deeply loved. It doesn't make you uncool because you want to sing while you're entertaining, you know, while you're walking down the street, or you want to dance down the street because you're having such a good time and your music on your headphones. You know, I used to do that all the time. Some people would be like this and some people would give you a look like that. And I'm like, the people who give you a look like that are the people who don't have the fucking courage, the coraggio. They don't have the bravery to just be and let their freak flag fly, because that's what Earth is for, to let your freak flag fly from all these different places in the universe. This is a school to learn, and we get to be the same but not the same. We're all human. We all pee and poop. We all pee and poop. Who fucking cares about the rest of it? We have to eat to survive. We need to love ourselves and each other to survive. I'm starting to get emotional. Because yesterday I saw a side in my partner that made me so sad that I felt like we went from like being like this to like, I'm like, I don't know who the fuck you are. Like, literally, I'm getting real. I was like, listen, you narcissistic fucking... I was like, I mean, the things that I wanted to say, but I didn't. But because I was like, that was old me. And that's like my Southside Chicago Kelly that wants to be like, hey, hello? Where's my fucking beautiful person? Like, who are you? Get the fuck out of here. I want my person back, you know? But they need to go through it, and they need to like figure out their stuff. Because I don't believe that's who they are, but maybe it is. And maybe they've been trying to be something they're not. Maybe they've been trying to be my partner, but this is as far. When I called for them, it was 4 days before or on the new moon when I called for them. I wrote down all the things I wanted in a partner. I don't know if I still have that list. I think I burned it now, but I wonder now, did I write like, you know, this, that, or other, blah, 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 or is it because it doesn't matter? You know, because that's what I wanted at the time. That's what I needed at the time. And now on this new moon, I'm going to write the person that I want in my life, and they will either come or they won't. But truthfully, I'm okay to be alone too, because I'm blessed to have been in love as many times as I have, deeply. You know, when Taylor Swift speaks of loving deeply and how, you know, people would make fun of her, and she talks about it in her songs where, like, you know, they look at her as a psycho or she's a stalker. It's like, is she a stalker and psycho, or is she just like, hey, stop gaslighting and love bombing me? I thought we loved each other. You told me you love me. I love you. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, is she just real? We have the same fucking birthday, so I'm going to tell you, she, no matter what her other stuff is, she's most likely being real. And that's what I am. I'm a bullshit barometer. I'm just like, hey, I love you, but whoa, okay, go check that shit. Because I don't know who you are right now. And if that's who you really are, because when I called them in, you know, I just remember the initial, like the first 4 days we were together were so magical that I was like, oh my God, I really am magic. Like, I just called this fucker in. Like, I love him. Like, he's amazing. He's like everything I ever wanted, you know. But he had his stuff underlined and he had his surface stuff. And when I met him, he was alone and living alone, and he liked living alone. And I was living alone and I liked living alone. And in 9 years, we have tried and tried and tried and tried and tried and tried. And we love each other and we love each other's company. But sometimes it's just something rides out to the end and it's over. And sometimes it's like you'll bounce back. Of course I pray we bounce back. But if not, I love him so much and I want him to find his person, because he deserves to find his person. And maybe he just thinks that way because of me, because I'm repelling something that he needs and he can no longer find that in me or with me. And maybe he needs to find that somewhere else, or maybe be alone. Just like for me, I'll be alone until I'm meant to, right? But if not, I'm like, I want that person that wants to go dancing with me, that wants to love, that is like full of love. And, because I'm like, imagine what I can do if I had another person that was like so full of love like I am, that just wants to bring love and healing to the planet, that wants to, because I have my shadow too. Obviously, you guys watch my readings, they're not fucking easy. But in my natural state is love, because all of our natural state is love. Staying in the shadow, anxiety, depression, all that's fucking programming. That is conditioning. That is stay in a low vibration so we can control you and do whatever we want. This is like whoever has the most money wins. Fuck you. No. That's to you like, no. This is like, we have plenty. This planet is plenty. We have plenty to give each other. We can grow food. There's so much land. 70% of the fucking planet is water. And you can convert salt water into fucking usable water. There's so many things that we've learned. This planet we were given everything that we need. And then other people, other energies, entities, whatever you want to call them, came here with different technologies, and some was for good and some was for, you know what I mean? And it was all planned. It was all meant to be anyway from the beginning, but whatever. Either way, this is the culmination of it. And how lucky and blessed are we to be here? It's like the most cool time ever. So no, I'm not going to live in like the Candace Cameron Bure. I'm sorry, I'm going to call her out. I'm not going to live in that fucking Hallmark where she had to leave Hallmark and start her own Christian network and make her own movies because she didn't want to be a part of something where there are couples that are same sex, because that's not in the Bible and blah, blah. I'm like, fuck you, dude. Like, I can't, I'm done with that shit. I'm done with that shit. So that's where I'm going to get tough and say she can do whatever she wants. She can good for her, and let them go and let but it's like you're further segregating us from each other. Now you're going to go in. Now she's going to, oh, I can't be a part of you, Hallmark, because the gays aren't magical. Like whatever she looks at, it's like no. I'm going to tell you right now that it is the gay community that saved my life more times than I could possibly fucking count, because I literally couldn't tell you. Because it was them who pushed me to be myself. It was them who told me there was nothing wrong with me. Because there wasn't. And I couldn't stay one more day or one more hour or one more minute around my friends and my family that were like, you're past your prime. If you haven't made it now, you never will. Just all the things telling me how limited I was. Because they were afraid of me. They were afraid because the mirror was too big. They were afraid of themselves and their own magic and their own power. So they'd try to diminish mine, and I almost let them. And my light was almost out. And I paired myself with him because he and I brought out the darkest parts of each other. But I don't need that anymore. Because I can go there when I need to. And I can stay in the high vibration when I want to. And I'd much rather stay over here. Because there's enough of that over there. So, I hope this helped you in any way. And I love him, and I love you, and I love myself, and I love all of us, and I'm so proud of us. And there's still so much work to be done. And we need your help. So, if you can, do your best, okay? Just do your best. I'm like, where'd my tissue go? I'm like, just do your best. Do your very best. Your very best. That's all I'm asking you to do right now, is just to do your very best. And it's going to be uncomfortable. You have to step out of your comfort zone for a minute. You have to. You don't grow in the comfort. We grow in the discomfort because it pushes you to get out. Like this. I had to keep doing these things to make this place livable for me. But now I'm like, when I saw mushrooms growing through the fucking floor, I was like, okay. I'm like, we tore up most of the carpet, but there were certain areas we just could not get it up. We just like, without like really like getting in there and like cutting it. And it's just like a lot of work. So we were like, we're going to do it this summer. And it's so funny because it's like, I think it was last month when we took our first break from each other. I was like, what the fuck is that? Like I had, and it was weird because it was like, all of a sudden it just like showed up. And because I live off grid, I have to, I have a toilet, I have a bathroom here, but it's more like an outhouse, and I have to really, really take care of it every day and pour water. So of course, water's like going down the sides of it, and I miss things, and and it's carpet, and this is 40 years old, and it's wood floors. So what happened? From lingering fecal matter, I'm sure, and urine or whatever, just things, particles you can't see, right? Because that's what mushrooms, they're spores, right? They're like mold spores. And it was funny because my husband studies mushrooms, and so I told him about it. He's like, "Shut the fuck up!" I go, "Dude, I swear to God." I'm like, I pulled him up because it kind of freaked me. Because at first I didn't know what it was, and then when I was like trying to touch it, but I was like afraid to touch it, and I was like, "That's a mushroom!" I'm like, "What is happening?" I'm like, "What is happening?" So anyway, I noticed the other day that they had popped back up as it had gotten cooler again. It got really, really hot here for a while, and like, whatever, but then it got really cool again. And now, whatever. And I laughed, and I told him, and he said, if it makes you feel any better, he's like, those mushrooms, like, because he knows mushrooms, he goes, they're actually really healthy. He goes, those are good mushrooms. He goes, they're actually eating away. He goes, like, they're eating like, what would be bad mold for us. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And he goes, nature knows how to clean itself. It does. So, I had to laugh because I'm like, I told him, I go, I think one of these times when you're gone, I'm like, leave me the tools. I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm like, I go, and I'm like, the fact that they're growing through, I can see that it's starting. I'm like, I bet I could pull it up now, because of just, what's been going on. So, everything's ever changing. Everything's ever changing, but I know, like, I can just like feel like how much things are changing, and I'm excited to see what happens next, and I'm excited to see where I go with or without him. I'm so fucking excited to see what the next stage is, and I hope you are too, because if you believe in magic and miracles, really truly believe it every single day, and when the fear creeps in, and when the naysayers and the negativity creeps in, I want you to just say, I believe in magic and miracles. I'm a loving light being having a human experience, and I can't fucking wait to see what happens next. I believe in divine timing. I believe in faith. I believe in hope. I believe in new experiences. And I want the people that I love to have the best for them, just like I want the best for me. Because maybe he doesn't want to do that, and I don't want to force him. But I want that. I want somebody I could tango with. I want to do a sexy, seductive dance. I want to have fun and experience and just squeeze out every ounce of juice left of this life. And I don't want to waste another minute, another second on something that doesn't matter anymore, something that's over, something that's in the past. And as that semi truck goes by, I bid adieu to that heavy weight and that heavy energy. And I hope you do too. I love you so much. Until next time, take really good care of yourselves and each other. Self-care is on the menu. We're still in self-care summer. I'll see you next time. I love you. Blessed be. Oh. And make sure you get over to the Magical Mediums. There's some really, 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 really cool shit going on over there. There's links to that, and links to Bubba's channel as well, Bubba the Great, my familiar. So make sure to like, subscribe, contribute your comments, passing it along, anything that you could do. We really appreciate it. Take care of you. I'll see you then. Bye.